Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have never done a TBR video before. I'm very much a mood reader, or I'll have a few that I definitely just want to get to and I will just get to them. But my shelf has been growing and growing and growing, and it's got to the point now where it's like, there's so many books that I am eager to read that I actually don't know what to prioritize. It is getting out of control. So I thought it would be fun this month, for the month of August, to get my Instagram followers to pick my reads for me. Who keeps beeping their horn outside? Can you... Don't interrupt me. So, much like I've seen other booktubers do, I've got my Instagram followers to blindly choose my reads based on the emojis that I've selected to represent the books. So, I've put two books up against each other per story, I've blacked out the covers, and I've put corresponding emojis to what I feel like represents the book well, and my followers are gonna pick for me. So this is really fun because I feel like it adds a new level of excitement to my books every time I pick a new one up, especially because the emojis, some of them might have been dead obvious to some people, some of them might not have been, but I feel like I know that they're quite educated guesses and things that people think I should read. So surely I should be excited. So most of these are romance because I'm always in my romance era in the summer, and I have read most of my fantasy books that I have so far, or am I lying to you? I feel like I have. So yeah, the majority of the books in the selection are going to be romance, and I'm very excited. So let's just get straight into it. So I haven't looked at any of the results yet. So first selection that I've done, two quite different books actually, but I've gone for either You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogle or Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. You Deserve Each Other I've had on my TBR for a very long time, and then I received this copy at Christmas and I still haven't read it yet. But I also read, let me go get it. I read Just Like Magic by Sarah Hogle at Christmas, and I loved her writing. I adored this book. It's probably a book that I'm going to want to reread at Christmas. But anyway, it's almost August. Let's not talk about Christmas right now, even though Holly is literally my name. But yeah, I loved her writing style. That book was actually really emotional, and I mean, before I even read that book, I had this book on my TBR just because the concept sounded really interesting. It's about a couple who are going through divorce. No, I lied. They're about to get married. They're currently engaged, but they are all of a sudden resenting each other and they just pretty much want to call it off. However, whoever decides to break off the engagement will be responsible for paying the whole price of the wedding that they've paid out for so far. So basically, they're both just pranking each other and trying not to be the first one to back out. And it just sounded so petty but so fun. So yeah, definitely intrigued by this one. Butcher and Blackbird, I've seen everywhere. Leather and Lark obviously also came out really recently. And I don't know, just the thought of a serial killer romance just sounds really appealing to me. So I've not really got a lot else to say about that. So let's head to Instagram and see what the results was on that poll. Oh, it's a 50-50 split. It's a dead on 50-50 split for that one. So I might leave this. We'll come back to this at the end and see if the poll results change. But currently they have got the exact same amount of votes for each. So a little bit of suspense. We'll come back to this. So moving on then to the next one, I wanted to do a little bit of fantasy because I do like to break up my reads just a little bit, otherwise I do find myself getting a bit bored. One of these is technically a reread, but I read it like 2 years ago now. I've forgotten everything about it, so I decided that I wanted to pick up again, and that is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. As you can see, I have the whole series behind me, but I wanted to reread this one before I continued because I have pretty much no memory of what happens in this book, but I remember it being the most enchanting time. I loved this book when I read it the first time around, so the excitement to reread it is pretty strong. But I knew that I wanted to also read this series so that I can also get onto the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, because I feel like I am actually more excited to read that one than these ones. But yeah, but I'm still buzzing to get back into this. And the other book I've also had on my bookshelves now for absolutely months and months and months, and that is a standalone. It is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo, and this is essentially a Little Mermaid retelling, so it's familiar, it's going to be easy to get into, and like I say, it's a standalone, which is stunning because I really do not need to commit to any more series right now, especially fantasy, especially because I've got my tandem read coming up from Throne of Glass, and I don't feel mentally prepared physically prepared, mentally prepared, emotionally prepared. So yeah, I feel like based on the emojis, I don't ever see much about this book. So I feel like most people would have recognized the emojis for this one, and therefore I reckon this is probably the one that's got chosen, but let's find out. Wow, okay, I was so wrong. I was so wrong. It actually turns out that Killer Kingdom won that by 61%. So that is a pretty significant win, really. 2/3 of the vote, near enough. That's really surprised me, but I'm actually really excited. It's also a really nice, comfortable size. It is like about 350-ish pages. And now that I think about it, I am more of a fantasy girly. Probably am mostly in the autumn and winter, but I do still love like a summer read when it's fantasy every now and then, especially on like a twilight summer's evening where you can sit outside because it's still comfortable and the sun is slowly setting and it's starting to feel a little bit magical in the air. Do you know what I mean? Am I making that up? I don't know, but I know what I mean. Although, having said that, this is obviously a Little Mermaid retelling, so the sea and the ocean and the beach is kind of giving summer. So maybe this is the perfect fantasy read for me to be reading in August. I'm buzzing that this is one, you know. At first I was like, I really do want to read Caraval, but I feel like I probably wouldn't have picked this myself for a long time. So it's actually probably such a good thing that my audience have picked it for me. So, oh, I'm excited to have one on the TBR already. The next selection is 2 reads that I'm really anticipating, and I'm almost procrastinating reading them because I am just that damn excited to read them. The first one is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I read Part of Your World literally like this time last year. It was a 5-star read, one of my favourite books, and tell me why I haven't picked up an Abby Jimenez book since then. Like, tell me why. Especially considering Just the Summer came out a couple of months ago, and I'm so eager to read that, but I won't let myself read that until I've read this. So why have I still not read it yet? I don't know a lot about it. I read the blurb so briefly earlier, and it essentially seems to be a sort of love story that comes about between the main character sending like letters back and forth, which almost gives me the Flatshare vibes by Beth O'Leary, and I adored the Flatshare. It is such a good little romance. And I also hear that there's a lot of really good anxiety rep in this book, which I am all here for because I'm an anxious girly, and it's nice to have, you know, those parts of yourself that you maybe try to hide away or see in a negative light represented in a book, and, you know, you just get made to feel a bit more normal and a bit more human. So I'm very excited to get into this. Or, and I feel this is also a very strong contender, Reckless by Elsie Silver. I swear the majority of the people that I see who have read this series say that Reckless is their favourite, which I'm shook about, because if you don't know, and this isn't a spoiler, this is a surprise pregnancy trope. So I know that is one that's considered like the lowest of the low in tropes. People don't tend to like it. So clearly Elsie Silver has done something extremely clever in this book to make people love it so much. We haven't seen too much of Theo, who is the male main character in this book. And also Winter, we've only ever really seen the negative sides of Winter. So the female main character, by the way, I don't mean the season. I feel it's going to be a really fun pairing, the two of them. And yeah, I'm just excited to see how that story unfolds. Let's see what's won the poll. I thought it could be. So Reckless has won that poll by 59%. It was quite a close one, but I thought it might win. But I am so excited. I cannot wait to get back into Chestnut Springs. It honestly at this point feels like coming home. Like, I know I've only read 3 of them, but it's just so familiar to me now. I love the characters. Elsie Silver just writes everything so well. She sets the scene so well. She writes the characters really well. The spice is really good in these books. I don't really have much bad to say about them. They've all been like a 4-star or more for me so far. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. I've heard so many amazing things. The next 2 are, I kind of paired the beefier books together out of fear that I didn't want maybe potentially these both being chosen in different selections, because then I'm never going to read all these books in August. But one of these I feel like I definitely want to be picked more than the other. But I have faith. I have faith in my Instagram followers, so we shall see how it turns out. But the first book, which is the one that I'm just so eager to read, is Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. This is the only book that I bought when I went on holiday to Budapest, but that was in May, and I remember picking something and thinking, oh my god, I can't wait to just get home and read that, because my heart still hurts since reading Magnolia Parks in December, and it's now almost August and I still haven't read it yet. Again, it's a very common theme, very common theme. I have to know what happens next with Magnolia and BJ. The way that the first book ended, Like, it just ripped me wide open, and I think about them all the time. Every single time I listen to So Long London by Taylor Swift, which is most days, it's just like immediate thinking of them in my brain. They live in my head rent free. I would love to get to this, but we're not going to get my hopes up. Don't want to be disappointed. The second book is Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, which, to be fair, I also do really want to read. I've read the Dreamland Billionaire series, and I feel like that series for me personally got better as the books went on. The Final Offer was my favourite. I am definitely a Cal girly over Rowan and Declan. But yeah, I'm excited to get back into the billionaire world, I suppose. I don't know if the characters cross over from Dreamland Billionaires into the Lakefront Billionaires. I'm not sure, but I did really enjoy the billionaire trope, so I'm sure I'm going to enjoy this one just as much, if not more, because I believe this follows like a lake house renovation, and I do love like homeware and like renovations and things, so there could just be that extra element to this I enjoy more than I did the previous trilogy that she did. So I do really want to read this because I think I could actually enjoy it more than I think I might. I have to figure out which one's won. Why am I nervous for this one? Oh, that was a really close poll, guys. Like a really close poll. They're getting closer and closer, I swear. But in the end, Love Redesigned has won 56%. So close. Look, I'm not going to be disappointed. Obviously, yes, I'm dying to read this. If I want to, I will. If you wanted to, you would. It's not like I'm never allowed to now read this. There's no point getting sad about it. I did want this to win, I can't lie. But I am still just as excited to read Love Redesigned. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. And plus, Love Unwritten has just come out. And so this is great. It gets me one step closer to reading that book as well. And I love to collect a series. So yeah, I think this is going to be really good. Lauren Asher books as well, even though this is thick, I read Final Offer so quickly, and that is the chunkiest book from the Dreamland series, and I just flew through it. I didn't even realise how quickly I was reading it. It was one of those ones where I just suddenly looked at the page number I was on because I wasn't even paying attention to that, and I was like, oh my god, I'm like 100 pages in. Didn't even realise. Felt like time had just flown by. So I'm excited for this one. This is a good pick. Probably also a really good vibe for summer. Okay, and the last two, we've got two more romances. One of them arguably perfect for summer, and I will be shocked if this one doesn't win the poll. I can't lie, because I feel like this was probably one of the easiest books to guess from the emojis that I chose. So that is, of course, Beach Read by Emily Henry. I mean, an emoji of a beach and a book. Beach read. I feel like it's going to be such an obvious choice, but sometimes it's nice to know that the audience probably know what books they're voting for, even though it is blind. But this is, other than Funny Story, the only other Emily Henry book that I'm yet to read. I can't believe I haven't read this yet, but I've had it on my shelves for a while, but I knew that I wanted to read this in the height of summer. It just made perfect sense, and probably will genuinely end up driving to the beach to read this because it just feels like the perfect vibe, and I want to give it the most fair chance of being a 5-star read. So I'm going to really try and put myself into this, and I know nothing about it. I actually haven't read the back. I don't even think I'm going to bother reading the back. I think it does have something, I was going to say, to do with being an author. It does kind of say that on the front, to be fair. But yeah, this is going to be a really good one. I just have a feeling in me. I loved Happy Place. I read that really recently, so I'm still very much on an Emily Henry hype right now. And the second book, can I just say, before I even show you, I got this for 50p in a charity shop a few months ago, and that is The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. I read The Spanish Love Deception last year, and maybe an unpopular opinion, I don't know. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, but I loved Spanish Love Deception. I had a really great time with it. It took a while, to get into, I won't lie. But once we got into it, once I actually went to Spain, spoiler alert, Spanish Love Deception, I had a great time and I really enjoyed it. And I loved Aaron as a male main character. So I thought this is gonna be really fun. Plus, I believe it's set in New York, and I didn't really need anything else, to be honest, because I just love New York. One day I'll get there maybe, but yeah, this just sounded like something I would love, and because I loved her writing in the first book, I just thought, well, this one is hopefully going to be just as good, but even better because it's set in New York. So I reckon these are both pretty obvious guesses from the emojis, but I've got a very strong feeling this could be the winner. By a landslide, 73% went for Beach Read. I just knew it. I knew that would happen. I'm so glad this got picked. I probably would have honestly read it anyway, even if it didn't, because August is the month to be reading Beach Read. So I'm so glad the time has finally come. I've been waiting for this for a very long time. As for the first two books, we are still waiting on a decision because it's still at 50-50. So I will probably come back maybe in an hour or two and we can finish off this video and see what has actually won the poll on this. I'm surprised that it was so split actually, but then also I don't know if people would have known explicitly what they were both about. I really struggled to pick the emojis on this one. Yeah, we shall see, but I'm really intrigued to see which one wins. I'll catch up with you in an hour or two and hopefully we will have an answer. Okay, it's a little bit later. I've just done some tidying and I checked the poll and we officially have a result. So winner by literally one vote, which I can't believe how close this was, but the winner is Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I'm most excited to read this one actually. It's been on my TBR for ages. Like I say, I've read nothing like this before, like two serial killers doing serial killer shit. By falling in love. I've heard the banter's incredible. I've heard that it's not actually that gruesome, but it's more funny. Yeah, I think this is going to be such a fun read. This definitely adds a bit of variation to my TBR this month. It's time to say commiserations to the books that didn't quite make the TBR this month. As I say, I'm still chomping at the bit to read some of these books, so who knows, if I have the time I might still get to these in August, but they haven't been picked for my TBR this time. But to recap, the books that I will be reading in the month of August, hopefully, are Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver, Beach Read by Emily Henry, Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher, Reckless by Elsie Silver, and To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. And there we have it, guys. That is my TBR for August. I hope you enjoyed this video. Watching TBR videos, I think, are my absolute favourite videos to watch. I love watching people use like TBR prompts and jars or just like innovative ways to pick the books they're going to read for the next month. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know out of the 5 books that I've got for this month, which one you think I'll like the most or which one has been your favourite. And maybe I will do a video of me trying to get through some of these. So stay tuned because you might be able to hear some of my thoughts and feelings on these as I read them. Please like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and I will catch you next week with a brand new one. Bye friends!